Awesome. So good evening, everybody, and welcome to the third annual Engineering Alumni Majors panel. My name is Katie Wiley, and I'm the Engineering Career Coach in the Center for Career Development and Academic Exploration. I will be your host tonight and tomorrow night, if you're there tomorrow night, as we interview these wonderful alumni who have agreed to come back and talk about their careers post-graduation. So joining me tonight are many familiar faces for a lot of our students. I would like to extend a huge thank you to the Tickle College of Engineering, Engineering Fundamentals, the Engage LLC, and Dr. Amy Bogalski for helping me make tonight possible. And before we begin, I would like to invite Ashley Dirthaler, please tell me if I'm saying your name incorrectly, to introduce her team and talk about a raffle that we're going to be doing tonight.
So I'm Ashley Dirthaler. I am one of the head mentors for the LLC here on campus. My team members are Jonathan, Jeremiah, and Michaela, who will introduce themselves in a couple minutes. I am a junior studying biomedical engineering. So tonight and tomorrow night, we're going to be raffling off 6 prizes. At the end of each session, I will post a link to a Google form that if you can fill it out, that'd be great. And then we will raffle off the prizes after the event tonight and tomorrow night, and then we'll send emails to the winners, letting them know that they won. So Jonathan, Jeremiah, or Michaela, can you guys introduce yourselves, please?
Hi, my name is Jonathan. I'm a senior in biomedical engineering.
Hi, my name is Michaela McGranahan, and I'm a sophomore in chemical engineering.
Hi, my name is Jeremiah Pham, and I'm a junior in civil engineering.
Fantastic. Thank you all for being here tonight. And I hope you get as much out of this event as I hope you will. We have some wonderful alumni joining us tonight, 5 to be specific. And we're going to start off tonight by them introducing themselves. But I do want to remind you that if you have any questions for these alumni during this alumni panel, please go ahead and put them in the chat. And then we'll also save a little bit of time at the end of each panel for you to unmute yourself and ask questions as well. But for now, I would like to invite our panelists to turn on their videos and tell us a little bit about themselves. I will go ahead for the sake of less awkwardness, go ahead and call your name for you to provide us your intro. So Brian Evans, will you go ahead and tell us who you are?
Certainly, thank you, Katie. My name is Brian Evans. I'm the Vice President of Engineering at a company called Online Development. We're located in Knoxville, and I graduated from the University of Tennessee with my degree in electrical engineering back in 1992.
Thank you so much, Brian. We're happy to have you back. And Brian is a long-standing alumni and partner of these programs. I think you've done it for the past 3 years, I think every year for this program. And thank you so much for being here again, Brian. We appreciate your commitment to our students. Joe Teague, can you introduce yourself, please? And please tell me if I'm saying your last name wrong.
That's correct. Thank you. My name's Joe Teague. I'm a senior software engineer for Siemens here in Knoxville with their healthcare molecular imaging division. And I have a master's degree that I got from UT in the summer of 2018 and a bachelor's from about 1.5 years before that.
Thank you so much. Sarah Schaefer, are you here tonight? Will you introduce yourself, please?
Yes. Hi, my name is Sarah Schaefer. I'm actually married to Joe Teague, and we met at UT in a computer science class. So I have a bachelor's of science in computer science with a minor in cybersecurity. And after graduation, I started working at Siemens Healthineers as well. It's my first big girl job, and I do test automation software engineering.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Stephen Gray, will you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Thank you, Katie. My name is Stephen Gray, and I'm a consultant with Booz Allen Hamilton. I do cybersecurity stuff. I do penetration testing, red teaming. I spent about 5 years doing development. I also worked at Siemens for a couple of years. So I'm sure everybody knows Shiv and Milan and all those people. So yeah, yeah, I do security testing nowadays, penetration testing, and I'm happy to be here.
Shiv is my boss.
Yeah, Shiv was my mentor.
It's a small world. Awesome. And last but certainly not least, Savannah Norem, please introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Hi, my name is Savannah Norum, and I got my bachelor's in the spring of 2018 from UT. I worked at a startup in New York for a summer. Then I came back to Knoxville and worked at a place called Cadre 5 doing web development up until fall of 2019 when I started working on my master's and working at Oak Ridge National Lab. I finished that master's up this past summer, so just like 3 months ago I finished. And then my internship at the lab turned into a full-time job. So I am currently a cybersecurity research assistant.
Thank you so much, Savannah. So our next question for our panelists is to tell us a little bit more about your background. How did you get in the position that you are today? And why did you choose that field of engineering? And we'll just go in the same order that we introduced ourselves in. So Brian, if you could go, that'd be awesome.
Certainly. After getting my bachelor's at UT, I got my master's at Georgia Tech, specializing in digital signal processing. Went on to work at Motorola back when that was a big company, and worked in a variety of areas, including cell phone development and some government applications, primarily in embedded design. So really nitty gritty down in the details, speech coding and a lot of things that I consider very interesting and to do. And then went on to work at Robert Shaw Industrial Products here in Knoxville. Came back and they eventually became part of Schneider Electric doing industrial automation. We were doing IoT type development before that was even a name, and in developing wireless tank level monitoring systems. So using either short range radios or cellular or satellite communication, and doing location-based services in a variety of interesting applications. Went on to work at Technology for Energy Corporation, doing some handheld device development, and now I lead the team at Online Development, which does industrial automation. So developing products that are used in manufacturing lines or automated applications globally, and primarily a lot of embedded development, so hardware, software, but we also do cybersecurity on the industrial side, which has slightly different nuances to it, and also some artificial intelligence down at the industrial IoT edge. So the reason I got into those things is I like to get into the details of products and how things work, and come up with new and exciting ways to improve what the market is doing.
Thank you so much, Brian. If you will go ahead and speak to that question, Joe, if you want me to repeat it, let me know.
No, I think I got it. So I got my bachelor's in computer science. I actually had a previous degree that wasn't really bringing me a whole lot of career satisfaction. So I decided to go back, and I picked computer science because I'd had exposure to people in the field. I'd had a little bit of exposure to the field itself, and I genuinely enjoyed it and thought I could turn it into a good career. I found a professor at UT, Dr. Jantz, in the EECS department, who I liked a lot, and he convinced me to go to graduate school. So after I got my bachelor's, I went and did an internship with Intel in the Phoenix area in Arizona, where I focused on operating systems and memory management techniques. So fairly low-level computer science stuff, sort of bordering on the software hardware boundary, if you will. So I took the research I was doing there. I really fell in love with that work, and I turned that into a master's degree that focused on the same thing. As for how I ended up at Siemens, I actually started a PhD and I wasn't enjoying the subspecialization I had gotten into. And Siemens cold contacted me and asked me if I wanted to apply for a position they had open. And I said yes, and they took me. And I really couldn't be happier. I work on PET CT scanners, so I feel like I'm working on worthwhile products. We're making things that help people, but because there's a physical product, it's not just pure software, so I can stay um, a little bit closer to the hardware than some other software developers might be able to, and I like that a lot.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Joe. Sarah, could you speak to your experience, please?
Sure. So my passion for computers began at an early age. My mom put me on a computer at 3. So I grew up loving them. And at in 9th grade, she sent me to a computer camp where I learned the basics of C++, which was, I knew then, I was like, that's what I want to do for college. I was so excited to get to college that I graduated at the age of 17 and immediately went to UT. I won't say that the classes were easy for me. I definitely was one of those people who it did not come naturally, and I had to work really hard. But just know if you're facing that in your major right now, you're not alone. But in the end, I pushed through. I got my degree, and I started when I was in college. I applied for an internship at Team Health. And so I did that for a year and a half. It meant I had to go to classes in business clothing. So that was fun. But I worked for the VP of IT and worked on setting up various cybersecurity products and that monitored different devices, the IPs of every device on their network and that sort of thing. And then once I graduated, I got the job with Siemens. And I may say that the job I applied for is not the job I got. The job that I applied for was given to somebody else, but the guy, my boss, Chuck, he said, we really like you. Would you be willing to come on as a contractor for our DevOps team? And I said, yes, I will absolutely do it. Siemens was a dream company for me because I grew up in Germany, and it's a very, very famous German company. And it turned out to be one of the best decisions of my life. It is an absolutely amazing path that I've taken. Like I said, I started in DevOps, and then I switched over to automation testing, which I didn't even think of when I was in college. And it's been really, really cool to test these massive machines, and with test automation, it's testing, but the computer does everything. So you'll press play and you'll just see the mouse going boop, 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 boop. So it's been really neat, and I really do love it.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Stephen, will you speak to your experience, please?
Sure, yeah. So I got interested in computers when I was about 11 years old. I begged my family for a computer for about a year before they finally gave me one. And, then they couldn't get me off of it. Learned Pascal, I learned C as a teenager. And, I knew I wanted to, I got into the security aspect of things. I wanted to, get a degree in computer science. When I went to UT, I was the first in my family to go to UT, so it was kind of cool. I actually dropped out in 2005 to play poker during the poker boom, and went back in 2007. So it wasn't a straightforward linear path. Went back and I got really interested in programming languages, compilers. Finished my undergraduate degree there, and I actually started the PhD program. I think, like you, Joe, I wasn't really super interested in my subfield, but a lot of great people. So after a year of that, I was like, I need to go make money, and I did. I left. I went to Siemens, worked on the PET scanners, did that for about 2 years, and then I started working for venture capital companies doing web application development. I did a bunch of automation stuff with Puppet and Chef, DevOps, things in the cloud, AWS, Heroku. After the company that I was working for got sold, me and my buddy started a contracting business, and we made that work for about a year and a half, 2 years. And then I decided I wanted to get deeper into security. So I came back to Knoxville and I went to Cisco, where I got my OSCP and I started learning about penetration testing, red teaming, exploiting systems, these sorts of things, exploit development. And then I took a job in DC working for a defense contractor, and I primarily work with commercial clients, but I do work with some government clients, and I do penetration testing, red teaming. I can do security audits. I can do secure code reviews. A lot of fun stuff. It's fun to kind of pretend to be the bad guy sometimes, and so yeah, that's how my career has played out so far, and I've enjoyed it. I think the next thing is I'm probably going to start my own thing again. I don't know exactly when, but it's all been good. It's been great. I learned a lot at UT, and I met a lot of great people, and it was just really good to be there.
Thank you so much. Savannah, will you speak to your experience, please?
Yeah, so like I said, I got my bachelor's in 2018. I chose computer science because my dad was like, your high school's offering AP computer science and you're taking it. And I was like, yes, sir. And I never looked back. Seriously, it was probably like fall of my senior year of high school. And I was like, yeah, that seems cool. Never changed my major, never wavered on that one. Obviously was not into computers as early as some of these other panelists. I was 17, not 3 when I was into computers. And yeah, so I got my bachelor's spring of 2018. I had gone into my senior year at UT thinking that I was going to go straight into my master's. And then I had seen some friends do that. And I was like, wow, that looks hard. It is hard. Graduate school is hard. But I was kind of like, is this really what I want? Is this really what I need for my career goals? So I ended up taking that year off and worked in 2 different industries. I worked at a data analyst company in New York for the summer, and then I came back and did web development at a company in Knoxville, and kind of realized that yes, a master's is what I wanted so that I could do the things I wanted to do with my degree. And I was very fortunate in that while I was working on my master's, one of the PhD students under the same advisor had an internship opening up at Oak Ridge, and he was like, yeah, come on over. They had a project going on that is still going on. It's called AI Attack. So we're doing cyber defense tool evaluations for the Navy. So it's been a super interesting project to get my hands on. And then once I finished up my master's, they were like, hey, we've loved having you on the team. Keep working with us.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So our next question is, what's one tip you wish you got while you were still in school? So if you could look back, hindsight's 2020, right? What's one thing that you wish you were told before you went and went to grad school or got your first big kid job? Brian, we'll start with you again.
Okay. I think one tip that I would give is, and would have wished that I had received, is to try a variety of different things. The direction you start in may not be the one that is the best opportunity for you. It might not be the best fit. And so if you are interested in it, I know the intern and co-op program at UT is fantastic. It gives you an opportunity to, as I said, put on grown up go to work clothes on a regular basis and see what that experience is like. And if you find that the first one isn't necessarily what would interest you, when you see what's there, try a different area. See what's out there and find the right fit for you, because when you do, that's when work isn't a labor, as it were. It's more of a pleasure to go in and be able to do what you enjoy doing.
Thank you so much, Brian. Go ahead, Joe.
I'd have to say that a tip I would give would be to take advantage of all the resources that the department has to offer. There are a lot of them, and some of them aren't clearly advertised, but even as an undergraduate, you can do research. As you get into your upper division classes and become an upperclassman, you can get some TA experience. Like Brian said, there are co-op and internship opportunities that are widely available, especially in computer science, because it's not a monolithic field. There are a number of specialties, some of which are very different from the others. And because of that, like Brian said, you really need to see what's out there, and you need to get a good feel for what you enjoy doing. I focused on operating systems. Most people don't enjoy those very much, but there are so many different subspecialties. There's machine learning, there's computer vision, operating systems, even more esoteric things than that, programming languages. There's so much you can do. And really all of those things are rewarding, but you need to figure out which one is the right one for you, or which ones are the right ones for you. And then when you're an upperclassman, you have an opportunity to focus on them more in your upper division electives, and take the opportunity to do so.
Great, thank you so much, Joe. Throwing it to you, Sarah.
My biggest recommendation, and something I wish I knew, is get involved in anything you can at UT. So it's kind of similar to what Joe said, but if there's a club or an organization that you're kind of interested in, but you're kind of nervous about having to talk to new people and that sort of thing, just jump in and do it. You know, it can be really strange at the beginning, sort of like it's strange to start a new job. You know, you're like, I don't know these people, I don't know what I'm doing, but just do it, because there's a lot of benefits to it. One, you're going to increase those communication skills. You know, just making small talk with people, that's basic networking, and you can learn those things very quickly that way. And also, like Joe was saying, you can learn about areas that you didn't ever think about in your major, you know. And maybe you're interested in history too. You can, I mean, there's these connections, you know, like you can make an app, you know, that has something to do with history. I'm not really that interested, so I don't have any ideas for y'all, but yeah, it's I highly recommend it, and they're also a lot of fun.
Sarah, thank you so much. Stephen, what do you have to say?
Well, my cat's trying to make an appearance, so I'm trying to keep her over here. But no, talk to your classmates. You know, definitely meet them. You know, the biggest thing about college was, you know, the classes were good, you learn a lot, but they're just like starting points. You know, meet the people that you're around and learn what they're interested in, and then do stuff outside of class, like, you know, go learn some technologies, build some apps, you know, get a GitHub page. Definitely, you know, put your code up for the world to see, and you know, play with stuff that you like, and pursue your passions.
Thank you so much. Savannah?
Yeah, so I'd say mine's a little bit more general than everyone else's so far, but definitely echoing what everyone said, especially what Joe said about undergraduate research. I completely forgot to mention that I did undergraduate research for 2 years, and it's a really great way to find areas that you're interested in, especially if you can find a professor that'll pay you to do undergrad research. But the tip that I wish I'd gotten is that if you're not failing and if you're not getting rejected, then you're not pushing yourself. You know, go out, try new things. It's okay to fail. Like, sort of combining what everyone else has said. If you're not struggling with something, then you're not pushing yourself. If you're not getting rejection letters from jobs, you're not pushing yourself. You're not reaching for things. So, you know, get comfortable failing.
That's some great advice, Savannah. Thank you so much. The next question for my panelists here, we're going to skip over one question just for the interest of time, but I want you to speak a little bit about what's your favorite and your least favorite thing about the role that you're in currently. And Brian, if you'll go ahead and talk on that, that would be great.
Sure. I guess my favorite thing is I get to be involved in pretty much all of the projects going on. We have multiple things with multiple teams working in a variety of different areas. So we are developing an artificial intelligence condition monitoring application. I get to be involved with that. We're also developing a front edge, first of its kind cybersecurity product for the industrial automation world. I get to be involved with that. We're developing scalable compute at the edge for industrial IoT. I get to be involved with that. The flip side is the downside. I'm involved with all those things, but I can't really get into the design details as much as I usually would like to. There are points where I can come in and be involved, but there are so many things that I'm responsible for with, in addition to that, being responsible for the team and looking forward in future technologies, that I can't get into the detail of design that I used to be able to.
Thank you, Brian. Go ahead, Joe.
So I have a number of favorite things. I like that I get to code all the time. I like the fact that I'm working on products that I feel are helping people. I like the teamwork that comes with being a software engineer for a big company as well. As for the downsides, there are a couple. There's some bureaucracy. There's occasionally some tedium. There are discussions that consume more time than you think their topics really deserve, while people hammer out details. But overall, I would say that those downsides are grossly outweighed by the positives. Although I do have one particular difficulty that's more situational right now, which is that I had been at the company for about 2 months when we all got sent home to work from home due to the pandemic. So there was a steep learning curve. I felt like I was still getting to know people over Microsoft Teams. It definitely made onboarding and ramping up difficult. I wouldn't call it a downside, but especially right now, that's an important consideration.
That's so true. And I think we've all been in meetings where they should have probably been an email, right? That's part of being an adult, I think. Awesome. Sarah, would you speak on that question?
Sure. So for me, the biggest negative, I'm going to start with the icky part first, is the bureaucracy as well. It's when you're in a corporate environment, it's everything, the little things matter. So the way you send an email, I used to just, if I thought it, I'd say it. And you can't do that. You have to be very careful about how you word things. You have to make sure, because you don't want to make people feel bad about their code or, how they handle the meeting or, whatever. So that's definitely been really hard for me. And I'm starting to get to the point where I'm in the swing of things and I know what to do and what not to do. But even now and then something comes up that it's like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that, but you live and you learn. Like Savannah was saying, be willing to make mistakes because the only way you're going to learn is by making mistakes. But my favorite part I would take all the big bureaucracy in the world to do what I do. I absolutely adore it. A big goal for me was always to do something that made the world better. And so I work every day knowing that I'm not saving lives, but I'm helping the doctors save lives by making a better product and making sure that they can see as much detail in those tumors as possible and that sort of thing. And making sure that our systems work perfectly because I am a tester.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Stephen, if you'll speak on that question, please.
Sure. Yeah. No. So many things I like. I like learning new technologies. I like writing code. I get to meet all kinds of people. I meet a lot of IT directors, chief security officers, CTOs, developers. So I get to speak to lots of different people in different companies. So I'll learn about different fields depending on who our clients are. And I get to be the adversary, the bad guy. So that's kind of cool, to kind of approach things from an offensive point of view. What can we do? What can we get into? Enjoy that. Things I don't like so much. I'm usually responsible for writing the report as well, which is actually the most important thing. But yeah, I write a lot of reports. So, documentation, reporting. But it's good. It's good to be able to communicate those ideas, to the client. So.
Thank you so much. Savannah, would you like to speak on that question?
Sure. So my least favorite thing is definitely sort of situational, but it's working from home. I loved having it as an option a year ago, where especially since I was working at Oak Ridge and taking classes, I could work for Oak Ridge while I was at UT. But now that I'm like not supposed to go in, you know, I haven't seen my teammates in months. We've hired new people that I've never met. That's definitely my least favorite thing, along with the bureaucracy, especially being a government DOE lab. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of red tape. But my favorite thing is definitely just, you know, getting to do what I've always enjoyed. It's working on a project that's sponsored by the Navy, where we're doing evaluations of tools that, you know, are going to be considered for our nation's defense. Like, it's, you know, it makes me feel important. You know, I'm really good at making it sound important and cool, but it is important and cool. And there are a lot of important and cool things that you can do with computer science.
Thank you so much. Lastly, very quickly, I would love for you all to talk about some internship or co-op opportunities that you're aware of at your company, and then we'll throw it to the students to ask some questions that they may have. So go ahead, Brian.
Certainly. Well, we usually have internship capabilities. We are on Chapman Highway, so we're literally 15 minutes from UT campus. And so we have flexibility regarding how we do that. We have some students who will be coming back next year, starting January, who aren't, it's almost more of a part-time job. In other words, we fit in around their class schedule. If they have classes they need to take in a particular semester, they can still take those as well as work with us. Usually it's in the embedded design space. So microprocessor-based design, whether hardware or firmware, everything from developing drivers and operating system platform type development to writing applications or working on, as I said, an artificial intelligence condition monitoring application, which is a much higher level. So we have opportunities along those ranges. So primarily, well, all the majors that we're talking to today. So computer science, electrical engineering, and computer engineering.
Thank you. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, so I know we offer semester-long and year-long internships and co-ops for, at the very least, computer science, electrical engineering, and mechanical engineering, and I think also physics and chemistry due to the nature of the work we do. We're in Knoxville. Well, we're right off, in normal times, Dutchtown Road. But right now, I'm not sure what the opportunities would be. One of the guys in my team has been going on about needing an intern for 4 months now. So I think the ability to bring interns and co-ops on has been hampered a little bit. But I have also heard from other people there who started off that way that the company does like to hire their interns and their co-ops.
Awesome. Sarah, I know you work for the same company, but do you have a different perspective on that?
Yes, I've been there longer, so I know a little bit more. So yes, things are a little, I'm not too sure what our internship situation is right now, but I can tell you that they love interns. One of our best friends, he was at our wedding. He had an internship with Siemens for 6 months, and then the person who got the job that I originally applied for, he was an intern, and then they hired him. So that's a good sign, right? But we also, when things are back to normal and you know, we do things like the hackathon, Siemens always has a table, and you are highly encouraged to come up to us when we're there and talk to us. We go to a lot of different things that UT offers just because we are so close, and they've been a great way to get new employees who know what they're doing. But yeah, and also check online, check on LinkedIn. The job postings are always there. That's how I think I found the posting I applied for on LinkedIn, and just on a whim applied. So you never know, just do it. And once someone has your resume, it's going to be sent. They send it around the building. So, you know, even if that group didn't choose you, it's very possible another group will. And like Joe said, all different areas. We also have accounting and, you know, not just engineering.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Stephen, I know you put a link in the chat. Will you speak a little bit to your opportunities?
Sure, yeah. So Booz Allen always has interns. They're a huge company. They have interns every year. I tossed a link into the chat so that you can, go investigate. I actually want to plug two companies. So Booz Allen, is good, but just locally here in Knoxville, Cisco Systems has the Advanced Security Initiatives Group, and they always have interns, and every year, and this is kind of a weird year with the pandemic and so forth, but I definitely reach out to your local Cisco people, and talk to them. I'm almost certain that they have opportunities for interns.
Thank you so much. Savannah?
Yeah, Oak Ridge has a ton of internship programs, a ton of graduate internship programs. Oak Ridge hires a ton of interns, co-ops. Like I said, I was working part-time while I was working on my master's. They love students. I know we've got some 2021 summer internships posted. So if you're interested, I'm just gonna throw ORISE in there. If you just Google ORISE, you'll find the link to everything that you need to know and everything that you need to find about Oak Ridge's internships, because they manage all of them.
Yeah, I was actually an intern at Oak Ridge as well one summer, so I feel like I've worked with at all of your places except for yours, Brian.
That's awesome. And yeah, in the Center for Career Development, we have a lot of really great connections with all of these companies that have been spoken about tonight. So students, if you have any questions at all, please reach out to the Center for Career Development, or even Engineering Professional Practice has very similar resources and connections as well, and they can help you get in contact with some of these people. Awesome. So we're going to throw these questions back at the students. Students, do you have any questions for our panelists here? You can either put them in the chat or feel free to unmute yourself. Any questions for our panelists?
I'll ask one. Brian, you mentioned that you're doing security stuff with like on an industrial side. Is that like SCADA devices? Like, what does that look like?
It's primarily the PLC backplane type devices connecting out to, say, drives and other external pieces. Most industrial automation products now have Ethernet ports as well, so you have to have some of the more broadly known security capabilities, but when you're connecting up and there's specific protocols in the industrial space, there are different attack surfaces that you have to account for, and different ways that people get in, and so there are similarities, but there are slight differences. They have an IEC standard that they've created, 62443, that the industrial automation world is trying to follow that approach, much like they did for functional safety. So it's not something that's as broadly seen as what you're probably working on, and actually most of the rest of you are, but it's got a lot of similarities.
Thank you so much, Savannah and Brian. We also have a question in the chat. Do you have any advice for getting into a graduate program? Anyone can answer.
Talk to your professors. Definitely, make connections with your professors. Let them know what you're interested in, and just communicate and network.
And absolutely try to find a way to do some undergraduate research under multiple professors, because if you start grad school working on a research project that you don't like,
you're owned.
It can really set you back, and it can really just ruin your opinion of what you're doing. Also, if you have an advisor lined up ahead of time, having someone in the department who can vouch for you will sort of lower the GRE requirements a little bit.
Yeah, so definitely finding an advisor. And I'm going to go ahead and throw in an answer to this next question as well about undergraduate research. I did undergraduate research for 2 years and then came back and did my master's under the same advisor, which means that he knew me, he cared about me. He got me a TA spot, which means that my tuition was paid for by the university. So as far as getting into a graduate program goes, having someone that will vouch for you and that can pay for some amount of it, either because you've done undergraduate research for them and they're willing to hire you to do graduate research, or because they know you're a good student and they can get you a TA spot. Those are things that make graduate programs a lot more affordable and a lot more accessible.
Yeah, when I got into grad school, Dr. Wong was kind of my guy, and he got me funding, and that was because largely, he'd seen some of the stuff I'd done in one of his classes. So, definitely reach out to your professors.
Thank you so much. There's another question in the chat here. So when you started your co-op or internships, if you did some, did you ever feel underqualified? I think maybe all of us at some point have felt like that imposter syndrome, right? Like, I don't know enough to be here. How did you overcome that?
I was about to say, I still feel underqualified.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely
continually.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. It's especially when it's your first internship or co-op, it's very intimidating because your first 2 years or however long you've been at school, you're like, this is fun, I'm doing what I like, and then it gets serious and you realize I'm doing this for a job. And you show up and you have to learn these new tools that they never talked about in school, that your company uses. And so that can be very scary, but don't let that hinder you from just going and doing it. That would be my biggest recommendation. Is just, if you see a job posting and you hit 50% of the requirements, just apply, just do it. Like, failing is not that scary. The most anyone's going to do is send you an email and be like, you didn't get the job. So what? You'll move on. They won't remember you. I've applied to the same places before, and they're like, I was like, yeah, I've interviewed with you before. And they're like, really? You seem so different. I'm like, yes, I'm more educated now. But yeah, just go out and just do it.
Yeah, no, I will definitely echo that. And, like the last couple of months, I've been working on mainframe stuff. I didn't know anything about mainframes, for a government client. And, you just have to go out there and learn, learn what you need to do your job. And, don't be afraid to, say, hey, I don't know how to do this, but I'm willing to learn, apply for anything you're interested in and just talk to people.
And I would say that one of the points of an internship or a co-op even is to be underqualified. It's sure, it's nice that they pay, especially in engineering. Unpaid internships are almost unheard of, but learning is a big part of it. And I think everybody who's done one probably felt underqualified when they started. When I was doing my internship at Intel, every person in my department had a PhD. And when I made the mistake of showing too much understanding about a topic, they pushed me harder in a different direction. So you should be underqualified going into it, and a good internship will make sure that you don't stay too comfortable the whole time you're there, because the point is to learn, and secondarily for you to make a little bit of side money and for them to maybe vet you as a possible future employee.
I would say one of the biggest things in sort of overcoming that feeling is realizing that all of these alumni that are talking right now, and I want to say most of us have graduate degrees, have still felt that way. No one has all the answers. Everyone will ask questions at some point. No one knows everything about everything. Everyone's still trying to figure out something. So it really, especially when you're surrounded by a team that's intelligent but also humble, you really get that experience of seeing other people that are honest about the fact that they don't know everything, and just remembering that no one's got it all figured out. No one expects you to have it all figured out, especially as an intern.
For sure. Well, unfortunately, we have come to time, but I want to thank all of our panelists so much for coming to the computer science, computer engineering, and electrical engineering panel. Up next is going to be our civil engineering and industrial engineering panel. So if you would like to stay for that, please do. And I'm going to turn it back to Ashley because I think she has some news about the raffle.
Yeah, so I'm going to post, if you were not here before or at the beginning, I'm going to be posting a link in the chat in a couple minutes that will take you to a Google form. If you could fill that out, you'll be entered into a chance to win one of 6 prizes.